And now, the news. Welcome, everybody. My name is Marcus Conte reporting. Good morning. Today is May 10, in the year 2023. Are you suffering from depression? Are you suffering from depression? You have depression? Are you depressed? What are you depressed about? Welcome, everybody. We're going to explore that possible reason. Why are people depressed in America and the world today? Why are good, functioning, alive human beings suffering the way they are? Is it because of politics? Is this something biological? Is it a biological attack? Biotech? Maybe all of the above. Or maybe just life sucks and that's all there really is to it. Or maybe it's the most amazing thing ever and we just fail to see that. So welcome to the program. Welcome. Hi, everybody. How are you? My name is Marcus Conte, and we're going to do a show today. Hi, how are you? Happy Friday to everybody. Welcome, Weevil Girl, Vinny DiMartini in the house, Andy Garcia. Waiting for the stream to kick in. We wait for the stream to kick in. Champs, how are you? Weevil Girl, Vinny DiMartini, and everybody else is lurking. Yeah, so yesterday we talked about the LARP world. That was a kind of a flashback for me. I felt a little sick after talking about that. I had to go take a nap. I had all these fucking LARPers, crazy schizophrenia. It's crazy people trying to spin narratives for their own gain, right? Telling stories about the world that we live in. And maybe people will pay attention to them and not what's really happening in the world. That seems to be the case, rather than just speak your truth. Speak your truth. So welcome, everybody. It's Friday. Tomorrow is a weekend. Tomorrow you get to do nothing. Marcus Conte reporting on his garden. I lost 3 tomato plants. I'm very, very sad about that. The sub-frozen weather that swept across Northeast Pennsylvania the other night took out 3 of my tomato plants. And a lot of the other ones, eggplants survived. Pepper plants, pepper also survived. And the bushes, everything that was already in the ground, of course, survived. But the things that I dropped in late, the delicate crops, namely tomatoes, got wiped out. So I gotta go replace those. And, whatever, man. So, shit dies. Good morning. Justin Falzone, TJ in the house. Good morning, everybody. So we're going to talk about depression. Does this make you depressed? Why is a man with an afro man wearing a bikini, a woman's, it looks like a woman's swimsuit, right? Adidas is pumping this shit out. Show off your man bulge and dick suit. Right? You got one of those? Is this fashionable? This doesn't offend me, for clarity. I'm not offended by it. I'm curious, right? Isn't that the point of fashion, to make people look? Well, you got me looking, and it is clearly a man. Male, right? Chest hair, man arms, man chest, man bulge, man legs. It's a man wearing a woman's, what we perceive to be woman's clothes, right? Because the breasts are covered, and humans will not allow each other to look at women's bare breasts because that's somehow taboo. You can look at a man's breast, but you can't look at a woman's breast. That's not allowed. It's considered obscene. Right? If women are pissed off, they should be pissed off about that alone. Right? Why can a man take off his shirt and walk on the beach and a woman has to cover her nipple? Makes no sense, right? But anyway, William Hall says nightmare at the public pool. Right. If you were hanging out at the public pool and this dude showed up in a $70 Pride swimsuit from Adidas, and he is he confusing the children? Should we be afraid? Should the children be afraid of this man because he's wearing women's clothes? Is he going to confuse the kids? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think there's anything per se wrong with it, but I do think that it is a sign of humanity shifting. Right? Sometimes people feel depressed collectively. All of a sudden, everybody feels weird. Everybody feels fucked up. Do you ever notice that? Sometimes you're talking to people, and you talk to a lot of people, or you see a lot of people, or you're in a public place, and you realize that humans are there's something going on right now that is unique to the planet, right? All people seem to be losing their mind collectively all at once. Right? They seem agitated, or they seem depressed, or they seem sometimes even happy. That's the twirling of the planets, by the way. If you haven't noticed, you are a very, very small part of a big picture. You are stuck on this giant flotation device, the Earth, floating in space, right? Revolving in space and protected by a simple membrane. You're like a little particle inside of that cell. And in other words, you're nothing and you're also everything. You're part of this thing, but at a smaller level, we only perceive ourselves as self. So we're very, very small there. And this planet that we live on is always shifting and changing and moving. We're moving like 7,000 miles an hour in a circle through space at another couple of 100,000 miles an hour. We're moving. So that's what we're responding to in part. Have we adapted ourselves to be able to deal with the swings of the Earth? Somewhat. You have to perceive it as it being exactly that this too shall pass, that the Earth will find equilibrium or we're going to die. See, with depression, you either 99% of the time come out the other side and heal yourself, or you fucking die, right? So it's one or the other. And the reality is, I would stick with the 99%, right? But images like this make people depressed, and because they say, "Oh, there's no more women. There's nothing good in the world anymore. Even men want to be women, and women want to be men." Weevil Girl says collective consciousness. Absolutely, yeah, man. Somebody else says something pretty interesting. Oh, friggin' Friday. Weevil Girl says, take us to the fat camp. Should we all be in a fat camp? Should fat people be in a fat camp? I think fat camps are good. I think those are good. The fat farm, where fat people go and de-escalate their fat. There's nothing wrong with that, because fat is a bad problem. Big and fat. I'm talking about obese. I'm talking about not like this guy with a big fat dick, but fat stomach, fat ass, right? Unhealthy. So a fat farms are good, right? They don't have to be that intensive, and they also don't have to be very medical. All you need is to get people in a room and get them together and limit the amount of food they can eat, and put a big giant swimming pool in the middle and some sun and fun and some bicycles and some fucking volleyball and all this other shit, right? That human beings can do to have fun with each other. And suddenly the fat and the problems associated with fat will melt away. God damn it. Fat farms. Rehab for our fatty friends. So we'll talk about the subject as it pertains to today's culture. I'm going to answer the question today. Why are people so depressed? I'm going to show you statistics. Upwards of 29% of humans in America are medically diagnosed. The medical scientists say that 3 in 7 people are depressed. And that is profound, right? How do we define depression? I think we know what depression is. Depression is a sinking feeling of doom inside one's self. This feeling that nothing is right. A feeling of anxiety and fear, right? An upheaval, and then it passes, right? It's normal, right? The less you abuse yourself, the less that will happen, and the more you'll be able to, stick with the planet as it revolves, right? As it swings around, right? And you're still part of the collective, but you see it. You observe it and you understand it. It's like, this is not my depression. This is human depression because the fucking earth is spinning 200 miles faster than it usually is. And it's skipping and sliding and it's causing me something. It's causing me to feel something. So anyway, my name is Marcus Conte. Every morning at 9 a.m. right here, Eastern Time, USA. We're live like a mofo. Talking about the news, talking about human news. Maybe I'll call this show Human News. The human news. What else we got? So we're across all these platforms every morning at 9 a.m. Come join us. Rumble, BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, blah, blah, blah. Truth Social. Right? We're everywhere, right? We're everywhere all at once. And if you're new to the program, thank you for joining us. If you're here to shoot spitballs at me for denigrating and or speaking about your Lord, George Webb, the Lord, God of conspiracy theories, George Webb yesterday, right? If you're here for that, you're not going to hear much, right? So you can leave now. What else we got here? So I'm across all these platforms. And, so let's start right out. Let's jump right in. So U.S. depression rates. This is New York Post reporting. U.S. depression rates surge. Women, young adults hit the hardest. Wow. So how did they surge? Let's see if the numbers are right. Depression rates. What is depression? Let's look it up. Let's find out. Let's at least agree on what depression is. What is depression according to Google? Depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. All right, so that is a big, broad, understanding of depression. Right? Big meaning of depression, but we get the gist of it. It's an inside job. People feel it on the inside. Depression rates have hit new peaks in the U.S., particularly among young adults and women, a Gallup poll has found. So some 5,000 adults were asked in February. 5,000 adults, that's a lot. That's a good study. Quote, has a doctor or nurse ever told you that you have depression? And do you currently have or are you currently being treated for depression? So they're asking, see, you can't have depression. You can't diagnose depression on your own, according to the medical jackoffs. You can't say, I feel like shit and I'm depressed, right? And not go to a doctor and confirm it. All right? Only the doctor today in this crazy human world that we live in, people who think they know more about everybody else and have a degree on the wall to back that bullshit can tell you what you feel on the inside. You know if you have depression. You know if you feel it. Right? But nonetheless, has a doctor or a nurse ever told you have depression? That's the question. 29% of the people asked reported being diagnosed with depression at some point in their life, an increase of 10% from 6-7 years ago. So the uptick of respondents being diagnosed with depression. So if 29% of the people being diagnosed, that's the people that end up in a doctor's office or a hospital with depression, you would imagine that I would say that the number is probably 80 or 90%. Marcus Conte reporting that 80, 90, maybe even 100, 99.99999% of humans will experience depression at some point in their life, right? If the depression is severe, then guess what? Your activities leading up to that depression are also fucking the problem. That is the problem. Let me repeat that. The activities, your life, the things that you do in your life that lead up to the depression is what's causing it. Another way to look at it is, I am depressed, right? Look back at the last 6 years, how you were living, and you'll find out where your depression came from. It's very, very simple. Without food, without feeding the depression, you're not depressed. Isn't that ironic? If you're meditating, if you calm your mind and give it what it needs, exercise, good food, clean water, sunlight, right? Low stress. If you do that, comb your hair, brush your teeth, if you have any. If you take care of yourself, go take a hot shower, sit out in the hot sun, cold water, hot sun, right? Stimulate yourself. Go play fucking. I was watching baseball yesterday. Young. It looked like high school kids, male. I guess they're male. I don't know anymore. But watching like 12 and 14-year-old kids play baseball, they're good. Yeah, it's exciting to watch, and they're having a good time. They're having fun. It's a team, and they're having fun, right? So you can. That's a good way to exercise. You couple it with something that you like to do, like basketball is great. Jumpy, kick the ball, soccer. Do something that you love to do. Right? But so 29% of respondents reported being depressed with depression. Diagnosed, again, I say that the level is everyone experiences depression and everyone experiences lack of depression. Every human being has experienced depression to some degree. And every human being has experienced the absence of depression to some degree. That is the fact. Right? The 17.8% of respondents say they have depression or are being treated for it, an uptick of about 7 points. So, staggering numbers. You could see my slant is away from doctors and nurses telling you have depression. It's not hard to figure out. You have a sinking feeling, right? Right. What are the statistics? The survey found women, 23.8%, and adults, 18 to 29 years old, have the highest rates of depression or treatment for depression now. And what is the treatment for depression? Let's find out. What treatment for depression? What is the medical profession professing? Treatment plan for depression. We're all sponsored too. Depression treatment, major depression treatment, depression major management. How about inpatient depression in Florida? Inpatient. You can go down there and be inpatient. Inpatient depression treatments, treatment options. Right? There's nothing. It's all about inpatient. Here they're pushing some pills. Medical. What is the medical? What is the pill treatment? All right. There's antidepressants. All right. So let's just say that all of these people that are being diagnosed with depression are also being fed antidepressive medications. And what are the side effects of antidepressive medications? Usually more depression, usually anxiety, usually lethargy, right? Foaming from the mouth, right? Feeling zombie-like. People have told me. I've never taken any of those things. I don't know. I don't have any experience with an antidepressive pill, but I do know that having spoke to people, they turn into kind of they look like something got wiped out. They look like something's missing. Are you okay? Wake up. Are you like they're zoned. They zone out, right, on antidepressives. In my experience. What's this? The current change for the lifetime depression rate for women, 10%, is up 10% from 2017 to 2023, and 5.7% for men. Lifetime depression rates among Black and Hispanics have now surpassed whites. So in race news, Blacks and Hispanics have more depression than whites, they say. Of course. So you have to give the Blacks and the Hispanics more of the treatment. Give them more attention. Go right ahead. White, it's good to be white, right? It's good to be white. You're not being labeled depressed anymore. White respondents typically report marginally higher rates of lifetime and current depression. Look at you. You're sitting on your bed. You're fat. You're by yourself. You're inside. I don't see anything to eat here. You've probably been in that fucking... Look at this fat pig. Go to the fat farm, man. Get your fat ass out of the bed. Get your fat ass out of the bed and walk at a bare minimum. Just walk until you're skinny. So some of the causes the medical trash is telling us, isolation during the COVID-19 pandemic is likely a large factor. You don't say. You don't say. All the anxiety surrounding masks and vaccine pushing and fucking distance, stay away from me, and I'm wearing this mask to protect you. I had some jerk off tell me that. Some medical guy told me that. So he says he took his mask off last week, and it's 3 years later in the pandemic. And he said, I was wearing that mask to protect others. You fool. You're not protecting anybody. You're not helping anybody either. You're making yourself sicker and more lonely and more depressed, and you're cutting off your oxygen. You're inhaling your own carbon dioxide. You're not showing people what your face looks like, what your expressions are. You're detaching from the fucking world. You're becoming less human by doing that, you idiot. You're not helping anybody. It's not aerosolized. Virus is not aerosolized. It's not in the air that you breathe. If it were in the air, then it's unprotectable. Because, for example, if there's a strong smell and you're wearing a mask, you still smell the strong smell. Ask yourself, how did the smell get in and not the other stuff? Because it's a different, not all fucking things in the air are the same. But it turns out, and again, I in my experience, the transmission of virus is through droplet, is through touch, is through actual. It's not airborne. It could be in spit. Right? I would say that a mask in a crowded situation might block a sneeze. But that sneeze still has to get in you and on you and then in you. So you have an enormous degree of protection if someone doesn't sneeze in your mouth or sneeze, on their hand, sneeze into their hand and then shake your hand. Right? How fucking obvious is that? Don't shake people's hands that you don't know, because the person could have just had their hand up their ass or blowing their nose with their hand, all germed up. So I believe the pandemic definitely had an effect, mostly out of fear. The fear that it created in people is epic. Social isolation, loneliness, fear of infection, psychological exhaustion. Elevated substance abuse, and just substance abuse. You mean like antidepressive medications, jerk off? And disruptions, when I say jerk off, I'm pertaining to the medical establishment that promotes this sort of nonsense, diagnosing everybody with depression. And everybody who doesn't have depression has high blood pressure and diabetes. And the remainder, that's about 70% of the population. And the rest of them, we say they have cancer. Right? How many people got their lungs blown out during the pandemic on a ventilator? Because the medical profession, just like AIDS in 1987, had no idea what it was. And they started throwing drugs at AZT back in the 80s, throwing it at AIDS people and killing them. The same shit happened here. The same shit happened in the pandemic. In 20 years, we'll look back on it and say, medical malpractice in the form of ventilation, ventilating people that their lungs were already clogged. There was some sort of lung problem. And then they were pushing the air into the lung using a ventilator, thinking that that's going to oxygenate the blood. And you see the oxygen in the blood level go plunging down. Stop the ventilator. It's not working. It's going the other way. So anyway, the medical field is it's a scary place, So this depression is definitely real. That's all I want to say. What's causing it? Here, Vivek Ramaswamy has an idea. He has a theory about bringing people, like stand for medical freedom, as a girl is wearing, but is what Vivek, you got to ask yourself, is what Vivek Ramaswamy going to say right now? Could this elevate or reduce depression in human beings? I say it's the latter. I say if you follow Vivek Ramaswamy's advice right here, you'll see a plunge, a fucking, like a free fall in depression. Let's listen.
We conservatives like to often talk about how we're against big government, and we are. But we should also be more affirmatively for the best known form of governance known to mankind. That is the nuclear family. That is the ultimate privilege that I enjoyed. 2 parents in the house, with a focus on education and a focus on God in the house as well. That's how we're raising our 2 sons. And even though I've built companies, even though I'm now running a presidential campaign, I care about practicing what I preach. And we're trying to take the time to make sure that we're present at home for our children.
Family.
In the same way that I think parents across this country ought to be as well. And if we restore that nuclear family foundation, end that fatherlessness epidemic raging across our country like wildfire, then I think our other problems, from economic to cultural, become that much easier to address.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Standing ovation for that guy. That's Vivek Ramaswamy telling you it's family. It's take care of your own. Be there for others. Be there for your own life, your children. Stop running around trying to get more and more, thinking that you're helping your family while you're leaving your family alone. And your fucking dog. Right? How many dogs? Where I live, man, is people trap their dogs in their house. That's a problem, right? Oh, look, these are COVID dogs, by the way. Yeah, have you ever heard of these things? COVID dogs? I'll tell you what COVID dogs. COVID dogs. COVID dogs. Right? COVID dogs is a real term, right? We should hashtag that, somebody. I'll do it. Hashtag COVID dogs. COVID dogs are real dogs, right? And they were adopted during the pandemic about 3 years ago because why? People were left alone and they were lonely. So what did they do? They did the noble act of going down to the kennel or go to a friend or whoever has a dog and get a dog to keep them company during the pandemic. Now the pandemic, and the dogs were happy. Everybody was happy. Oh, we're a great family together. And then everything changed. The planet starts shifting again, and the fucking theory about virus goes away. And what happens? The dog is left alone in the house, barking and lonely. Right? You created that problem. Right? COVID created the barking fucking dog epidemic in cities right now. I open my window, I hear 4 dogs barking. They're alone. They're barking at each other. That was never the case. Like a fucking dog, one dog down the block doesn't give a shit about the other dog down the block. Like they don't even know they exist, and all of a sudden they're all alone in the home by themselves because the owners are out fucking going. Right? They couldn't do that during the pandemic, right? So COVID dogs, right? They're everywhere. I don't know what else I'm talking about. This could piss people off too. This drives a lot of people into depression. Look, Hillary is the wicked witch of the West and tries to burn Trump, the Russia hoax. And Trump says, "Do something, mother effer," to John Durham. And John Durham says, "I said she set you on fire. What more do you want me to do?" That's all I do. I just pointed out, Trump. Big 4-year investigation. John Durham finds evidence of FBI impropriety, and nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens, right? You get burned by the Democrats. That pisses people off, right? It pisses people off. Trump deserves everything he's going to get. Yeah. So that's a good piece. So what else makes people depressed? What about this guy? Remember New York City Terrorist, Sayfullo Saipov? You remember the guy who ran over the fucking 8 people on the West Side Highway in New York City about 6 years ago? Remember that? 5 years, 6 years? Ran up got a U-Haul truck and ran everybody over. Well, he's now in court. He got his 200. He's got 8 life sentences and another 260 years in jail. They wanted to execute him, but it's New York and it didn't happen. But Saipov, 34, through a translator, while he's getting sentenced, did this for an hour. A history of Islam going back to its inception. After nearly an hour, he said, quote, now, this is a convicted terrorist being sentenced in court, Muslim, a devout ISIS member, right, saying this in open court in the United States, in New York. Quote, I was here in the court during the 3-month trial, and I saw and I heard the victims' families and friends, he said. Quote, tears of those families of the victims, maybe one handkerchief would hold their tears. The courtroom would be filled up with the tears and blood of the Muslim population. I'm not giving him a round of applause because I think it's accurate, but I do think that the wear and tear that the West has placed on the Arab world, the Muslim religious world, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, fucking all these Uzbekistan, all the stands below Russia. Palestine, the pain that the West has placed on Muslim people for their values is unprecedented. The number of bombs dropped on Muslims, the number of Muslims killed in Muslim countries like Afghanistan, millions, right? How many people did the Muslim people kill? How many Westerners did they kill? Not a fractional amount. So he makes this wild. The terrorist is making this wild point. And if you don't want to hear it, don't listen to it. But he is making a valid point that the tears of the victims of the 8 people he killed are minimal compared to the tears that have fallen from his brothers and sisters and family by Westerners that have killed them. Right? That's his point. It's real, and it pisses people off. There he is with his do-rag and his Arab fucking, this is what he looks like. This is what he looked like when he 5'5", 5 foot and a half, 5'6". Makes people depressed. He's an Arab. He's disgusting. I hate this fucking guy. He has no God. Here he is with a pair of guns running out of his rental truck after he killed everybody. Here's one of his victims. So he was sentenced to a long time. They're doing it at the Kangaroo Court, 500 Pearl Street, Epstein Court, Southern District of New York. Enough to make people fucking pissed off, right? Again, I don't have my opinion of it is terrorism, and what this guy did is despicable and unacceptable and punishable, in my view, by death. But he makes this rambling point that maybe we should stop killing Muslims too. Maybe we should stop politicizing our killing in war and the military-industrial complex, going into places like Afghanistan, saying, give us Osama bin Laden and we'll kill everybody. Going into Iraq and hanging their king and killing 1 million people while we're there. And on and on and on. And so that's enough to make somebody depressed. Why are these Muslims running people over? This is a fucked up story, right? This will definitely change your mind about the medical profession and make you depressed. Cardiologist, or some women may like it, cardiologist drugged, sexually assaulted 10 women he met online, took revenge porn pictures. Now this, my friends, right here, is a real fucking psychopath. This guy, if he did what he did, right, and he didn't do it once, it turns out he did it at least 10 times, right? Date rape, right? He basically, a cardiologist was accused of sexually assaulting a woman he met on a date app and was arrested when he showed up in court this week after 9 more alleged victims came forward. 10. He did it 10 times. He was charged with 3 felony counts of rape, sexual assault with no consent, sexual assault on a helpless victim, sexual assault on an incapable victim. So how was he doing it? He was drugging them. He's a doctor. He would say, let's go out for a drink, and then he would drug the drink, and when they would start falling out, usually he did it in his house, in his hot tub. Oh, you want to take a hot tub? Let's take a hot tub. And then he would give them a drink, and they would fucking pass out, and then he would sexually abuse them. Now, this is a serious fucking guy, right? A serious predator, right? This is a dangerous motherfucker, right? Ladies. He told investigators that he and the woman had consensual sex, but she said she never gave consent and had no recollection of having sex with him after they had a drink. So, am I making up the drug part of it? No. He's facing 13 additional felonies. Where's the drug part of it? Yeah. Matthews is now charged with 3 counts of sexual assault, 1 count of sexual assault, drugging, 2 counts of sexual assault, drugging, 3 counts of sexual assault, drugging, and 7 counts of second-degree assault, drugging. Wow, this guy was, there's a real consistency in the reporting here from law enforcement. They had, 11 situations, it looks like, 10 or 11, where this guy, women were having a drink with this guy, and they black out, and they wake up fucking raped, right? With evidence of rape, right? A crazy mofo, right? This will make, as TJ says, another crazy mofo. There's crazy fucking people, right? And this is what makes people depressed. Now, you can't, so far, there's some Arab guy fucking in a U-Haul truck killing people on the West Side Highway, so you can't walk around. You might get run over, right? You go out, say, oh, I'll go out on a date. I'll meet a nice doctor, and then the guy fucking slips you a pill, and you wake up, with your ass open or something, right? It's just there's nowhere to run, right? So far, why are people depressed? Right? Well, masked men, you go, fuck it, just go shopping. Go to, Christian Dior and do some shopping, right? No. Shoplifting is legal now and allowed and promoted in places like San Francisco. So here we are. You're going shopping at Christian Dior, a very luxurious, posh New Jersey mall, and fucking this happens, right? Look at Homeboy and a pair of homeboys snatching $125,000 worth of Christian Dior fashion bags. Let's go, bro. Let's go. We got the bags, man. Let's go. That's a lot of money to be laying around, right? These bags are $100,000. That's $125,000 worth of merchandise. Huh. I wouldn't fucking. I would. You couldn't give me. Look, if you gave me $100 to take them all, maybe I'd haul them away and throw them in the dump. But again, another reason you can't walk the streets. You'll get run over by an angry Muslim. You can't go out on a date. Some doctor wants to drug you and rape you. You can't go shopping. A bunch of thugs. You might get caught in the crossfire of fucking thieves robbing Christian Dior. Right? It's a social problem. There's a bad fucking vibe going on right now. What else? Right? And if that's not bad enough, I'll go to the beach or the public pool. And this is what you see. Here she is. It is. He is. Is it the world around us creating our own depression? It could, but it is a sign of a crazy, crazy world. Right? You can't lock into that. You can't fixate on the bulge, per se. So this is real. Adidas, a fine athletic brand that I remember my whole life. Adidas. Pride 2023 women's swimsuits appear to be the model of a man. So they didn't say that this is a tranny fucking costume. They said it's for women. But why do you have a man in the woman's costume? How many women are going to flock to this bathing suit if there's a man in it, right? That's not who you're targeting. See, here's the problem. I believe the left, right? For lack of a better way to explain it, let's just say half the population. That's what it looks like. Believe that somehow that there's something inherently right about transsexuality and homosexuality, right? But not just homosexuality. There's obviously nothing inherently wrong with that. But what they're doing is they're reaching into the populace to see if this image turns people on. Are women more likely? See, Adidas is not stupid. When they show an image like this, are women more likely to buy this bathing suit? That's the bottom line. Are men more likely, tranny men, more likely to buy the bathing suit because, I don't know, because it becomes acceptable. Look, Adidas has the Pride swimsuit. I'm going to wear that shit to the beach. And I'm going to feel good about myself. And fuck you if you don't like my bulge. Look, the bulge isn't a big deal. Right? He does look a little. It does look like a little girl. His ass, he looks like a girl. With his dick, his bulging dick. But the bulge is not something that is unfamiliar to people in bathing suits. Speedo, it's just cut off, right? And the man shows his chest. Right? But this pisses people off, right? It pisses people off. I don't understand why companies are voluntarily doing this to themselves, says somebody. They could have at least said the suit is unisex, but they didn't because it's about erasing women. Ever wonder why we hardly see this go the other way? Do we ever see this go the other way? Do we see women dressing like men? Yeah, we do. We see that go the other way. We see women in suits and all the time. Do we see women in men's bathing trunks? Yeah, all the time. So that's not really a real argument. A way of erasing women. Is that what this does this image women? When you look at this image, do you feel like you're being erased, women? Look how many views, 1.3 million views on, I guess, Twitter. Yeah. So that's just one person's tweet, Ollie London. I don't know. Do you feel less woman? Do you feel erased as a woman because the man is wearing your bikini, wearing your Speedo? In a press release on Monday, Adidas said the line, quote, is inspired by a love letter wrote to someone's younger self, serving as, quote, a rally cry for active allyship to empower and champion the LGBTQIA plus community. They keep adding letters to this fucking bullshit. What does plus mean? LGBTQIA. Meaning, please. So it's gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual people collectively. Oh, that's what it is. Stupid. That's stupidity right there. Internet personality Ollie London tweeted, we already saw what you tweeted. June from Canada says, I have breasts, hips, and no need for an extra pouch of fabric around my labia. I guess that means this bathing suit isn't for me, or most women, in which other... Hold on a second. I gotta sneeze. Woo! I felt a sneeze coming on. I apologize. I guess that means this bathing suit isn't for me, or most women, in which other instance do companies advertise to a demographic of 1% woman. So this woman's pissed off, right? I'm depressed, man. Now that's a good look. See, I have no problem with this. It is feminine, but it's also, there's a masculine power to this suit. And you might disagree with it. I don't know why I see it that way. There's something, it is a mini skirt per se. And the bottom is open like a dress. And historically we think of that as for women. But there is something rather masculine, right? Like, for example, the skirts that some Irish people wear during celebrations, the kilt. This costume has a kilt quality to it. I wouldn't be offended by this at all because I wouldn't turn my head at all as much as seeing this on the beach, because this borders on the ridiculous. This makes the guy look ridiculous. Sir, you look ridiculous. Take off the woman's bathing suit. But if you're walking down the boardwalk like this, I would say it's very fashionable. The colors, the black, the yellows, how it works with the dreadlocks, and he's wearing Adidas shoes too, black Adidas with pink sock. That doesn't bother me at all. I see that almost could be unisex. That's a stretch. But anyway, this is pissing people off. What else we got? What else makes people depressed? Student loans, right? You've got a student loan. How old are you, Jagoff? You still fumbling with your student loans? I am. I threw that shit in the garbage 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I didn't pay that shit back at all. Student loan pause ends June 30th. Uh-oh. People who are paying their student loans, guess what? June 30th, you're done. Here's why you may not have to start paying immediately. How about that? So Joe Biden, there is a big push in politics right now to Elizabeth Warren, but certainly Bernie Sanders, pushing to liquidate student loans in America because they feel that education first of all, isn't worth $200,000. It shouldn't be that much money to educate yourself. It should be a right of some sort. If corporations are going to require degrees, then the government should, at a bare minimum, make a degree accessible either inexpensively or free. I believe in that. I believe in that. It doesn't have to be the Ivy League. It doesn't mean you get to go to Harvard for free or Yale or Stanford. It means you go to the community college and you study something that you like, and you achieve a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree or a master's fucking degree. Right? But that's not how it is, right? People are strapped with $1 trillion, I don't know, like $2 trillion in student loan debt. The worst kind of debt, too. Student loan is the worst kind of debt that the worst kind of debt has been piled on young people, right? Because you can't get out of it. There's no way out of a student loan. You can't get out of it. You're bankrupt. No, it doesn't work. Can't get out of it. You're fucking strapped until the day you die. I don't care you're 60 and your student loan was 47 years ago. We're still coming after you. So they definitely do that. I think you should expunge, my view is expunge student debt. Make it over time. After 20 years, that's it. Goodbye student loans. 10 years, that's it. It didn't work out for the person, right? They didn't fall into piles of money as they were promised, or whatever, some career pursuit that didn't work out. So June 30th, hold on to your hat. You might be paying your student loan back. And finally, before we look at the market completely, Elizabeth Warren, very troubled by First Republic's sale to J.P. Morgan. Right? Now, Elizabeth Warren would be right in being very troubled by the sale, if you could even call it that, a sale. First Republic was thrown at J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan, yeah, they made an offer, but it was getting thrown at them anyway, right? And they made the offer so that they can do it cheaper, get it cheaper. But Elizabeth Warren told U.S. regulators Thursday that she was very troubled by the sale of First Republic to J.P. Morgan, arguing the deal made the nation's largest lender, J.P. Morgan Chase, JPM, even bigger and increased risks to the banking system. 100% Elizabeth Warren is correct. The big got bigger and the middle to lower size lenders got wiped out. They couldn't sustain the interest rate hikes. Federal Reserve keeps jacking up the overnight interest rate, and the regional banks can't stay afloat. They don't have that kind of liquidity to stay afloat when money is 5%. So they got in my view, almost intentionally wiped out. And what happens? The big banks, J.P. Morgan Chase, in this case, it could have been Bank of America. It might be later. Get bigger. The single biggest threat to the U.S. banking system is concentration, Warren said during a Senate Banking Committee hearing. She's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. You don't concentrate the wealth like that. You break it up. Break up the banks. Remember the cattle cry in the so let's look at the markets. Marcus Conte reporting on the markets. We're all green. I see green. It was a little higher. The overnight was higher. We were up about 0.2%. Now we're only up about 0.03% on the Nasdaq. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 79. S&P 500 up 12. On the big board, technology, Apple 175.65, very good, up 61 cents for those Apple lovers. Amazon 117, down 70 cents today. Google and its parent company Googl, both up. Facebook, now Meta, down $1.36. Microsoft down $1.15. Rivian coming on back, $14 a share, up 61 cents. Tesla up 89. Good for Tesla. Bitcoin coming back down again. Sorry, guys. Sorry about the your vision of Bitcoin going to 60,000. It's down another 381 today to 26,008. So it looks like you got a pullback in Bitcoin right now. Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, the war stocks. Lockheed Martin up $1.91. Raytheon down 50 cents. So military industrial complex stocks both up, and the holiest of holy vaccines, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, all up today. Headline, Bank of America says markets underestimate the Fed's next move. I don't know what that means. What? Some people are saying most people think that the Fed is about to pause the interest rate hikes. A pause because they're seeing signs of inflation coming down, and or nothing really happening by doing that except breaking smaller banks. So it looks like the Federal Reserve is about to pause the interest rate hike, which they've been hiking for the last year. It's up to 5% already, or over 5%. If they stop doing that, the markets will rally, and that's pretty much, I believe, what you're seeing. You're seeing a bit of you're seeing a technology rally, I don't know. It's hard to say. What do I think? I think that the Fed will likely, yes, pause the interest rate hike at least for a month or two, and then see how corporate earnings are reflected in that move. And that causes the markets to rally. As long as the interest rate stops and or goes down, if it goes down, then the markets will definitely rally. That's in the best interest of Wall Street. But right now, as of 8:58 New York time, we are up. Everything is green on a Friday. You can't complain about that. Green is what I mean. So thank you all for joining me. Marcus Conte reporting. Peace, everybody. Peace. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Billy Camden in the house. My brother from Pennsylvania. TJ Jante Thackeray. Good morning. Golden Sun from Michigan. Welcome. Mad Cal Mark. Have a great weekend yourself there. Weevil Girl. TJ, Jim Gerard. Have a good weekend, Jim. Vinny Martini in the house. Justin Falzone says, I really love this weather and don't want to see it leave. Yeah, it's kind of nice here, too. 58, crisp, cloudy. But I'll tell you, man, I was a little pissed off about that cold, man. That cold got my tomatoes, man. I got to go buy new tomatoes. I got to go buy some new plants. They're only $1 each. I got hit for $3. I'm down $3 on my vegetable trade. Peace, everybody, and have a good weekend. I really mean that. I'm not just saying it. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Marcus Conte reporting.